Well, good evening to everybody here. My name is Olivia Berg, and I am a proud recent graduate of the University of Minnesota. Thank you. I got applause for being a graduate. This is amazing. I love it. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to the annual President's Club Heritage Society dinner tonight. We've gathered together to honor and recognize all our Heritage Society members, those individuals who have made estate commitments and other planned gifts to the university. We also have a number of university leaders here tonight, and I'd like to introduce a few of these special guests. Member of the University Board of Regents, the Honorable Abdul Amari. President of the University of Minnesota, Eric Kaler, and his wife, Karen Kaler. Executive Vice President and Provost, Karen Hansen. And President and CEO of the University of Minnesota Foundation, Kathy Schmidlkoffer. We're also fortunate to have here tonight many of our deans, directors, and chancellors, as well as several members of the University of Minnesota Foundation Board of Trustees. Please stand so we can recognize you all. Wow, I have to say before I begin what an honor it is to be here with you all this evening. To thank you for your generosity and your generous support of not only the University of Minnesota, but students like me. My journey here at the University of Minnesota really was made possible by scholarships, including a scholarship from a donor who made a gift in her estate plans. My mom, in addition to being one of the most caring, creative, and inspirational people in my life, is a hardworking single mother of two who took an early retirement from her job as a special educator in order to care for my ailing grandparents. So as you can probably imagine, funding for my college education was somewhat limited, but my passion for learning instilled in me by my mother was not. And when I found out that this passion and a fair bit of hard work in high school was going to be rewarded with scholarships, I'm going to be honest, I cried tears of joy. I cried because not only did these scholarships make it possible for me to attend the University of Minnesota, they also enabled me to throw myself wholeheartedly into my degree program of music therapy. Perhaps a little too wholeheartedly, considering how familiar I became with the dark side of 3 a.m., but wholeheartedly nonetheless. My interest in music therapy began when I was in high school, but it was really my grandmother and her experiences with music that solidified my decision to study music therapy in college. Due to a series of incapacitating strokes a number of years ago, my grandmother is wheelchair-bound, eats with a feeding tube, and spends much of her time wandering through the shifting parallel time zones in her mind. But when she listens to music, her Doris Day albums, or the energetic rollicking of Myron Floren's accordion, she might become more engaged with the world around her. She might open her eyes or wave her hands to direct the music. And during my 4 years here in the outstanding music therapy program at the University of Minnesota, I learned so much more about this innovative form of therapy and the ways it can be used to improve an individual's health and well-being, from helping individuals with autism develop social skills to decreasing pain and nausea among hospital patients, teaching academic and life skills to children with learning disabilities, managing symptoms of Parkinson's disease and other movement disorders, aiding in the recovery process of individuals dealing with substance use, supporting individuals and families receiving hospice care, and certainly in improving quality of life for people like my grandmother. In my coursework here, I learned about the psychological, neurological, and biomedical foundations of music therapy, as well as different theoretical approaches to its practice. I studied with Dr. Michael Silverman and Professor Todd Schwartzberg, who are both phenomenal and renowned music therapy advocates, researchers, clinicians, and educators. I improved my group leadership and therapeutic management skills alongside my music therapy classmates, who are some of the kindest, most inventive, and most driven people that I know. I attended national and regional music therapy conferences and immersed myself in reading music therapy research. And when I received a scholarship from the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program to conduct my own research in music therapy, I cried again. Tears of excitement. With my program director, Dr. Michael Silverman, I examined the effect of patient-preferred live music on mood and pain among adults receiving organ transplants. And when we found significant improvements in measures of both mood and pain, I cried again. Tears of amazement. I also cried when my research received the Undergraduate Student Research Award from the American Music Therapy Association. Thank you. And then again, when the abstract of my paper was published in the journal Music Therapy Perspectives. And both times, these were tears of, oh my God, is that my name on that sheet of paper right there? I cried tears of awe last year when I received the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to travel to the town of Cashel, County Tipperary, Ireland, to do music therapy-related work with kids who have developmental disabilities. I cried tears of thankfulness when I was accepted for a 6-month internship in music therapy at Park Nicollet Health Services, where I'm currently gaining invaluable clinical experience working with cancer patients, individuals with Parkinson's disease, patients and families receiving hospice care, and individuals recovering from eating disorders. And last May, when I graduated summa cum laude with my degree in music therapy, I bet you can guess what I did. I cried. Certainly out of nostalgia, certainly out of fear of change and transition, but overwhelmingly with joy and gratitude for these and all the other experiences I had here at the University of Minnesota. And now, with these experiences behind me, I'm looking forward to finishing my internship in 3 weeks, sitting for my board certification exam and passing it, and then practicing as a music therapist. And it all started with scholarships. So being a part of tonight's program is an honor for me, not only because I get to personally offer my gratitude for your generosity, but also because tonight we celebrate the innovation your giving makes possible at the University of Minnesota. Innovation I see every day in my work in music therapy. So on behalf of this university, my fellow student scholarship recipients, my mother and my grandmother, I offer my sincere thanks. Thank you for your generosity, your commitment to this university, and for making stories like mine possible. And now I'm probably going to go cry. Tears of relief. Thank you. Thank you all so much. During our program tonight, you'll hear more stories of how your giving is driving innovation here at the University of Minnesota. But for now, please enjoy your dinner.
At the University of Minnesota, the universe of innovation is accelerating economic opportunity. Rishi Murugesan's work at CoLab is one of many examples of inventive thinking, design, and execution, driving a plan for Minnesota innovation.
I got involved with my brother, CB. He was actually doing some classes at Carlson, and he met one of the founders, Jonathan Melgard, and Jonathan was talking about how he wanted to really increase innovation and entrepreneurship on campus, and they needed some design work and some strategy work and some brand work, and then CB was like, hey, Rishi, can you come and help us out? I ended up really loving it. CoLab's initial goal was to come up with innovative solutions on campus, really focusing around crime, efficiency, and sustainability. CoLab evolved into a student-led business incubator for student entrepreneurs. We helped launch everything from a donut shop in Dinkytown to Adrenacard. Adrenacard is a medical startup developing an alternative to the EpiPen. And so I finished up a year with CoLab. This was the design team is me and 2 other students. And at the end of the year, we're at our summer meetup like normal, and I realized, hey, Rishi, do you want to, be head of design? It really kind of hit me like, wait, I'm now in charge of all of this. And we built up something pretty big. Now we're going to get even bigger, more responsibilities. I was pretty much split between being super nervous, like, can I do this? And being super excited, like, I can do this. But I think I stepped up and really helped make a difference.
For generations, Minnesota scholars have reached across disciplines to create new ways of looking at the world, its challenges, and its opportunities. Today, one can see Minnesota innovation in action at the Institute on the Environment, where students have the chance to develop international impact ventures aimed at solving social and environmental challenges. Kernza, a new strain of drought-resistant and pollinator-friendly wheatgrass, has been brought to market through the university's Forever Green initiative in partnership with the Land Institute and General Mills. And what would innovation be without a sense of humor? Nothing, according to Dr. Barry Kudrowitz, whose research shows that the pathway to innovation is opened when we give room in our lives for humor, creativity, and play. Duluth's Wood Products and Bioeconomy Initiative is rejuvenating the state's lumber industry with the development of weather-resistant, thermally modified white pine siding, which is being used on the exterior of the new Bell Museum of Natural History and Macmillan Planetarium. Physicist Jean-Ping Wang's Nanospin Research Group is using emerging nanobiomedical technology to create personal medical devices that will help with early detection of cancer and other diseases. And innovative thinking drives Bob Tranquillo's pioneering work in tissue engineering, which has produced artificial blood valves that actually grow with the recipient. Today, University of Minnesota students and faculty are transcending traditional methods to create new ways of thinking that will drive innovation to even greater heights.
I think one of the best parts about CoLab was how unique it was. It was started by students, led by students, and for the students. And I think we really benefited, I know we benefited from the fact that the university really supported us in our mission to foster innovation and entrepreneurship all across campus.
Well, good evening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your dinner, and more importantly, I hope you enjoyed that video highlighting the great innovative work going on here at the University of Minnesota. As the leader of the University of Minnesota Foundation, I can tell you that this is an evening that we all look forward to for the entire year. And that's because not only is it a chance for us to help inform all of you of the great innovative practices going on here at the University of Minnesota, but it's our chance to express our gratitude and thanks for your generosity and commitment to the university. And like you, I'm also a member of the Heritage Society because I believe in the power of this institution to transform lives, fuel creativity, and become a source of answers around the globe. We all share this belief in higher education and the people who come to campus to earn a degree, to teach, to conduct research, to treat patients, or just to share their knowledge with the wider community. This past year alone, members have made more than $100 million in new estate commitments to the university, and we have welcomed over 170 new members to the Heritage Society, which is fantastic. And we are so pleased that so many of our new members could join us yet this evening. And you may have heard by now that this past fall, the university publicly launched a new university-wide fundraising campaign called Driven. This is the largest philanthropic initiative in university history with a goal of raising $4 billion to support students, outreach, faculty, and research. It's a big campaign, and it's a big goal, because we plan to accomplish big things here in Minnesota that impacts the world. And as many of you may not know yet, but each of you is a part of this historic campaign because your visionary gift commitments you have already made. And thanks to you and more than 200,000 donors like you, we have already raised $2.9 billion towards that $4 billion goal. Isn't it wonderful? It's just amazing. Folks who know me know that I love to talk about the numbers, but what I also love to talk about is what we really do here at the university. And it's really the impact that individual people and their stories and why they tell why they're driven to do the things that they do. We had the chance earlier to listen to Olivia's inspiring story, and if you don't mind, I'd like to share one more. It begins in 1921 with the birth of twin boys named Dwayne and Glenn Engenbretson. Aren't they handsome? Their family lived in Devils Lake, North Dakota, where for decades their father owned and ran a pharmacy called Devils Lake Drug. The brothers became familiar with the store, and even at the age of 13 were running the soda fountain. And then years later, they enrolled in the University of Minnesota School of Pharmacy to pursue their own careers in pharmacy. And after graduating, and each serving time in the military, they returned to Devils Lake to work for their dad and ultimately bought the pharmacy from him in 1949. Do you remember their twins? Isn't that fun? They successfully ran the pharmacy for more than 23 years until their retirement in 1972. Throughout their lives, Glenn and Dwayne remained connected to the university and were great stewards of their alma mater. They generously supported research and education that would ultimately help those most in need, people whose lives who were affected by illness, discomfort, and life-threatening conditions. The Engenbretson family first established the Engenbretson Symposium on Drug and Development at the university, and then Glenn and Dwayne established the Engenbretson Fund for Drug Discovery and Development. In creating that fund, they addressed two big goals for their philanthropy: to save lives and alleviate suffering. The fund is the largest of its kind at the university, devoted to new medicine development, and has been a critical resource over the years to the faculty's important ongoing work in drug discovery and development. In addition to giving generously throughout their lives, both Dwayne and Glenn made a gift in their will to the Engenbretson Fund at the School of Pharmacy so this important research can continue after their lifetime. Sadly, both Glenn and Dwayne have passed away in the last couple of years. As you can see, they lived a well-served life, well into their 90s. And the key thing is their legacy continues to live through their extraordinary and visionary philanthropy. And like all of you, Dwayne and Glenn were committed to creating a better future. And I know that each one of you here tonight has your own inspiring story of why and where you give. Each day, there is amazing work being done by our dedicated people on every U of M campus because of people like you who choose to invest in a future of innovation, and we are so grateful. So in closing, just let me thank you for your generosity. Thank you for supporting the University of Minnesota. And most of all, thank you for being here tonight so we could celebrate you and that investment into this great institution. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who will tell us about another extraordinary set of twins. He is the Richard C. Jordan Professor and Morse Alumni Distinguished Teaching Professor of Mechanical Engineering. And he has served as the university's director of the Earl E. Bakken Medical Device Center since 2007. Dr. Art Erdman will be coming up to speak to all of us, but we're going to see a short video before that happens. Thank you.
We informed them that, number one, that we could lose one or both of the twins.
No matter what, I wanted to try and give them life and do whatever I had to do to give them that chance.
We were going to do everything within our power to treat them. We quickly assembled a team to figure out how we were going to do this and how we were going to start from the beginning, from prenatal care to eventually then separation and then post-separation care. We rely on our team. There isn't a lot that we cannot do here. We knew we needed some imaging. Calling on that depth of the University of Minnesota, reached out to the Medical Device Center. We were able to use a 3D modeling, and we planned how we're actually going to make these incisions. We were able to do 3D reconstructions.
What we found in the model was that, in fact, there was a moderate to large connection here between the right atrium of Paisley, left atrium of Paisley.
And actually changed our planning of how we were going to position the infants on the operating table and how we were going to approach it.
Amazing experience to go over and see in 3 dimensions something that we'd had to construct in 3 dimensions in our heads only up until that time.
There's this little piece right here.
There was a tiny, tiny 1 millimeter bridge that actually connected these 2 babies' hearts.
The fact that using modern technology, current surgical strategies, and medical care, that you can separate them safely is, it is somewhat awe-inspiring.
It's been an amazing experience, how the entire team has come together.
Liver separation, cardiac separation.
The Dr. Izaki clamped that connection, all of a sudden their hearts started beating separately.
They continue to be connected somehow, spiritually or emotionally or psychologically.
We had done something really, really amazing.
I have to confess that every time I watch that, I get goosebumps. What a wonderful story. It's even more meaningful to me because I too am a twin. So you see the trend here? And my wife and I, unfortunately, lost a set of twins 32 years ago at birth. So, therefore, it's even more of a blessing to think that the Medical Devices Center has played a vital role, as you saw in the video, the first ever separation of conjoined twins with this complication, and saved both girls' lives. Previous attempts have resulted in losing one or both of the twins. You probably heard in the video Dr. Salzman mention, at the University of Minnesota, there's nothing we really can't do. Powerful statement. And at the very end, he says, "We have done something very amazing." Indeed, that is the case. This kind of collaboration that's shown here between engineers and physicians really started with Earl Bakken, shown in the upper left. You know, Earl is a graduate of electrical engineering, right, Moss? In the late 40s. I don't think you were here yet. Almost, no. And he solved a problem and a need that C. Walt Lillihei, a very famous cardiovascular surgeon, brought to him. And what he delivered was the first battery-powered pacemaker. So Earl, in his garage, which is maybe 6 miles up the road in Columbia Heights, started his company. And it grew, and it grew, and it grew, and it grew. Now it's the largest medical device company in the world. I'm sure most of you are thinking, yes, that is Medtronic. At the Medical Devices Center, we strive to follow the same exact model set forth by Earl so many years ago as we train the next generation of innovators. For example, in our first 9 years of our Innovation Fellows program, we have actually sent over to the Office of Technology and Commercialization 230 patent disclosures. Pretty darn amazing. Thank you. There are 6 startup companies, maybe 2 more from this year's class, and our first product on the market. So this is a wonderful center to be part of and to be privileged and honored to lead. So this kind of collaboration was an absolute must for the successful separation of Paisley and Paislin. Up in the corner there you see 5 surgeons listed that were part actually of a 44-person team that you saw in the video. The red hats were one baby, the blue hats were the other baby. Bethany and Alex mentioned there are PhD candidates for myself, and Paul Isa, which was actually in the video that we saw just before, holding those hearts. They're the ones that found the 1 millimeter vessel that connected the 2 hearts. Critical, absolutely critical to success in this operation, using our virtual reality system. A number of weeks before the separation surgery, you can see here key members of the surgery team in the Medical Devices Center discussing the upcoming operation. Behind Dr. Salzman, you can see a sketch on the board of the suggested orientation of the babies. By then, the 2 PhD students had received the CT scans and other anatomical information that had provided them with enough information through their expertise and laborious effort. They came up with both virtual and 3D printed models. Not surprising, the Medical Devices Center also started in a garage. What you see here on the left is a small slice of a parking garage from the medical school. I actually have MDs walking in the front door saying, "I used to park there." Whether they did or not, still happens today. The visitors to the center, which we have hundreds and hundreds of visitors every year through our tours, and we welcome you to come tour the center anytime, tell us this center is unique in the world. The MDC has been made possible only by a significant university investment, plus donations from industry, a foundation, and many individuals. Within the MDC is a room shown here that we call our operation room of the future. In there, we have a virtual reality system shown That is one of 5 in the world. This system has been conceived, designed, and built by members of the Computer Science and Engineering Department and staff at the Medical Devices Center. This custom system allows us to bring in patient-specific anatomy. So we could bring in CT scans or MRI scans of any of you, and then we can place in there virtual prototype devices to test in that system. We can then optimize those devices, and this is very important because this is all before you go to animal and human trials, which are very, very expensive. So this is one of the slides that we showed. Now, you don't get to see it in 3D here, but one of the images that was very important to them is the 2 twins, their rib cages, and in the center, their hearts. Now, unfortunately, Paige Lynn only had 3-chamber heart. Her sister had the normal 4-chamber heart. It was found that Paige Lynn's system, her blood system, was being driven by her sister. And you can imagine how problematic that was all the way through, even before they were born. Over Dr. Salzman's shoulder, again, I mentioned the sketch there that he made. So this is early when they came into the Medical Devices Center. And this was a decision made based on early practice runs that you saw in the video. The 3D printed model of the twin's heart, including the rest of the vasculature, and the scanned model torso shown at that time as well. So you can see here on the lower left the vasculature and the model. Walk over here. So these are those models. So you can see the hearts are in the middle here and the vasculature over here. And this is the scan of the twins. So that all has to fit inside here. So you can imagine so small these hearts are. And in fact, before they were separated, they had to go in and do a surgery on one of the twins to make sure that when they separated them, things were successful. For a matter of scale, I think you might be able to see this hand here. This is Dr. Salzman's hand holding the 2 arms of the twins. His fingers are about the same size of their lower arms. Totally amazing. So the original plan is shown here. Both the twins, as was said in the video, they're connected from all the way down the chest, and where they would be moved to after the operation for further surgery. However, once they went into the virtual reality system, and I'm sorry you can't see it in 3D, it allows you to sort through and traverse through the system. So we actually followed that 1 millimeter connection, which isn't just in one straight line. That sure enough, this connection is here. And the location of that arterial connection really surprised them. And it totally changed the whole operation. So that here is, they actually flipped the twins 180 degrees on the operating table, changed a lot of things in the operation. And we're told that saved 2 hours of surgery time, which would have been on top of the 9 hours that was already there. Now recall, this is the very first successful separation of twins with this complication ever. It was very intriguing to me to listen to the surgeon experts as they discussed the operation and the pluses and minuses of things. Now, I'm an engineer, and it was amazing to me to hear this. Then Dr. Salzman leaned over and whispered in my ear, Do you realize we're planning the entire surgery right now? So, oh, wow. What an impact that was. Some of you may have seen on Care 11 about a month ago, they did a huge story, not only on the original story that you can find, part of it was seen in the video here, but the fact that Paige Lynn was leaving the hospital. So here they are at home. She's now with her sister. I can tell lots of stories, but they're going to pull me off the stage here. We understand that they're doing very well. This was a truly amazing experience for me, but so many other people that were part of this. I run into nurses in the hallway that were part of the team or second on a team, and everybody's so darn proud, and as they should be. We can't wait to share with you other breakthroughs in medical practice, medical devices that will be forthcoming in the future. It is now my privilege to begin to introduce President Eric Kaler, our 16th president of the University of Minnesota. Before I do that, I want to show you a slide here. President and Mrs. Kaler and others got a chance to go to Hawaii last fall. I know it's a tough job. And visit with Earl. Notice that Earl is holding, along with Eric, some 3D models that were made. And we got a chance to thank him for allowing us to put his name on the Medical Devices Center, as well as the Center for Spirituality and Healing. I understand there might be a vote later on best Hawaiian shirt. Before I invite President Keller to the podium, I want to thank you for being here and for your incredible generosity and for what you've done to make work like this possible. I hope you feel as inspired as I am every day when I come to campus. I don't even call it work. Moss, don't listen to that. He may not want to pay me anymore. Together we are saving lives and making a difference in the world. Together. Both you and all of the, 4,000 faculty and staff we have on campus. Thank you all for becoming members of the President's Club Heritage Society. And now, please help me welcome Dr. Eric Kaler.
Thank you, Art. You know, I have a difficult job. I have to follow Olivia and her beautiful story, and I have to follow Art, who will, by the way, save the lives of 2 babies. So anyways, good evening, and welcome, everybody. I think those are inspiring stories, and it was also inspiring to go to Hawaii, the island of Kona, and go to Earl Bakken's house. Earl Bakken's house is on the coastline of the Big Island, facing west. I'm really sure you cannot build a house there anymore, but they built one, and it's remote and it's complicated, and someone said that Earl was told that you can't build a house there. And someone else said, well, you don't want to tell an entrepreneurial engineer with unlimited resources that he can't build a house there, because he went ahead and built a house there. I also had the pleasure of, Karen and I had the pleasure of spending time with the Ingebretson twins, and they were a remarkable pair, and I'm pretty sure they were the oldest attendees at my inauguration 7 years ago. And they are a remarkable example of what can happen when cutting-edge ideas are combined with the vital support needed to drive innovation forward. And as members of the President's Club Heritage Society, each one of you also shares in driving the university forward to a bright future with your generosity. This past year, more than $37 million came to the university from the estates of Heritage Society members, and those are dollars that we put to work just exactly as those donors would have wanted them to be. And all told, nearly 3,600 Heritage Society members have made planned gifts valued at just under $1 billion. And that's a remarkable statement of support for the University of Minnesota, and I think that deserves a round of applause, please. I'd like to take a moment to officially recognize and welcome the new members of the Heritage Society. Estate and planned gifts are an extraordinary vote of confidence in the university and key to helping us set a course for the years ahead. Your gifts to the University of Minnesota are an investment in academic success, pure and simple. They're an investment in the education of future leaders, teachers, the workforce, and others. It's an investment in a dynamic and prosperous state, in healthier lives, and in discoveries that will help us tackle the world's grand challenges. We're grateful and we are honored that you have joined us in this important mission. So as you are able, would all of the new Heritage Society members please stand so we can recognize you. Congratulations and thank you to each one of you. We are so grateful for your generosity and your commitment. This year's new Heritage Society members are offering future support for everything from medical school scholarships at our Duluth and Twin Cities campuses to support for the arts and athletics and to providing scholarships for amazing young people like Olivia. So no matter where your passions lie, we are deeply grateful for your partnership and commitment. Now, as Kathy mentioned earlier, we recently launched the Driven campaign, and one of the campaign's key priorities is to drive a Minnesota plan for innovation, which we celebrate tonight. And that means examining our campuses for more ways to inspire thinking, cross-disciplinary collaboration, and deeper engagement between industry and the university. For example, just this month, our Rochester campus hosted the National Higher Education Innovation Summit, a 3-day conference for scholars who specialize in teaching and learning. In Crookston, the number of students and faculty conducting research continues to grow, and this summer, their new Center for Collaborative Research is set to open, providing the campus with its first centralized and self-contained laboratory. Our Morris campus recently won a $1.2 million Ronald E. McNair Postdoctoral Achievement Program grant from the U.S. Department of Education, and that will expand undergraduate research and provide critical support for incoming Morris students, where 41% of the students are the first generation in their family to attend college, just as I was, and I suspect many of you were. And the Chancellor from Morris, Michelle Baer, is here tonight. Michelle, I saw you earlier. And in Duluth, our students recently gained global recognition for their innovative research and analysis abilities. Pay attention to this. 5 students from the Leibovitz School of Business and Economics won the National Chartered Financial Analyst Institute Research Challenge. That's a mouthful, but it's also a competition that engaged teams from some of the very best universities in this country, and our Duluth team won. And they went on to represent the U.S. at the global competition in Malaysia. They came in 5th, but it's still a pretty good run. And as for our and on the Twin Cities campus, it seems that just about every day we're learning of research breakthroughs, student achievements, alumni honors, and key milestones worth talking about. I'll give you 13 or 14 of them. For example, in the past month, the Center for World University Rankings listed us among the top 35 universities in the world, amongst thousands, and among the top 10 comprehensive public research universities in the U.S. Researchers in CSE's Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering have discovered the fourth chemical element to have unique magnetic properties at room temperatures. 4 elements in all of human history have been discovered to have that property, one of them from the University of Minnesota. And our exciting Medical Discovery Team initiative in our medical school launched a new Institute on the Biology of Aging and Metabolism. Who here tonight is interested in those 2 things? And these examples are just the tip of the iceberg of innovation throughout our university system-wide. You know, every day this university inspires me. I'm inspired knowing there are students like Olivia who are motivated by the opportunities around them and committed to making a difference. I'm inspired by faculty like Dr. Erdman leading the way in innovative research and teaching and sharing knowledge with the wider community. And I'm inspired by the generous, visionary supporters like the Ingebretson twins and each of you here tonight. Every single one of you has taken action in a specific way that will change the future for the better. The University of Minnesota is a powerful and transformative institution made up of innovative individuals driven to create a bright future for generations to come. As Heritage Society members, you are a big part of that, and thank you very much. So with that, I would like to offer a closing toast, if I'm equipped to do so. I was fooled by the glass. Please raise your glass to the great University of Minnesota, to futures being changed by our remarkable students, faculty, and staff, to our visionary Heritage Society members, and to you. Cheers. And now, as a special treat to close our program, I'd like to invite Olivia Berg back to the stage to lead us in Hail, Minnesota. Let's see if she can make us cry. Olivia.
That's a tall order, but I'll see what I can do.
And indeed, you are supposed to stand up as you can.
Minnesota, hail to thee, our college dear. Thy light shall ever be a beacon bright and clear. Thy sons and daughters true will proclaim thee near and far. They will guard the